What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with Clair. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with Clair.
Hello, I'm Emma Clair and welcome to the final Prohibition radio show of 2020. It's December and the season of glitz, glam and all that sparkles is officially with us. I'm super excited. It's my favourite time of the year and I'm also super excited to share with you guys my interview with Parov Stelar. He's been such an inspiration to me since I first discovered electro-swing back in 2013. So it's an absolute honour and privilege to have him on the radio show. But for now, kicking off, here's some music from LVDS with Mr. Sherlock. Now, it wouldn't be the December show without something a little bit festive, and who better to supply us with some festive cheer than the man of 2020? It is Mr. Riff Kitten. This is taken from his Christmas EP, which is called The Gift. The track is entitled Lost in the North Pole. It's coming out on the 4th of December. It is completely free, and it is courtesy of the lovely people at Freshly Squeezed Music.
What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay.
Wow, it really is the season of goodwill. More brand new music for you now, taken from Barton Baker's Electro-Swing Party 3 compilation, which is out on the 11th of December. This is their remix of the Papini Sisters' Dance Dance Dance.
Snap, 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 snap.
Emma Clair, and you're listening to the Prohibition Radio Show. Brand new music from me now. This is my remix of Good Co. Begging. It's not yet been released, but it will be available very soon on Roaring City Records.
Riding high when I was king, played it hard and fast cause I had everything. Walked away, wondering then, but easy come and easy go and it would end.
Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
Easy come and easy go. Begging, put your loving hands out, baby. I need you. Begging, begging you. Begging, begging you.
You know I love you, don't you?
What are you talking about? Go ahead, go ahead.
Easy come, easy come. Begging, put your loving hands out, baby. I need you.
We're edging closer to the exclusive interview with Parov Stelar and his top 10 electro-swing tracks. What will be on his playlist, I wonder? Well, you shall find out very soon. But for now, brand new music from Bart and Baker with Nicole Rochelle. Hey You, I Heard You Wanna Party, Wolfgang Law on the remix. And this one is out on the 18th of December.
Hey you, I heard you wanna party. The world is feeling upside down, but now my feet can touch the ground. Ooh yeah, I'm feeling very groovy. I saw you dancing on your own, well you don't have to be alone. Hey you, I heard you wanna party. The world is feeling upside down, but now my feet can touch the ground. Ooh yeah, I'm feeling very groovy. I saw you dancing on your own, well you don't have to be alone. Hands on your hips.
Hand on your hips.
Grin on your face. Time's now.
Time is now.
What's coming next? Clap your hands.
Clap your hands.
Stomp your feet. Blink an eye.
Blink an eye.
No, I won't sleep. Hands on your hips.
Hand on your hips.
Grin on your face.
Grin on your face.
The world is feeling upside down, but now my feet can touch the ground. The time's now.
Time is now.
What's coming next?
What's coming next?
I saw you dancing on your own, but you don't have to be alone.
You've just been listening to the super swinging sounds of Tallulah Good Times. All I want to do is swing, and all I want to do is dance when I hear that. What a catchy song.
Hey, buddy, do you like to swing? Come with me. You're listening to Emma Clair, the best of all things swinging at Prohibition Radio.
And now it is the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time for the interview with Austria's finest musical export and the founder of electro-swing, Parov Stelar, the man who was responsible for some of the most catchy electro-swing and vintage remix tracks ever, is here with us on the Prohibition Radio Show. Hi Marcus, how are you?
Hi, thanks, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. I also want to say a massive thank you for taking the time to speak to me, because I expect that you are super busy.
Well, of course, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. Okay, so I know you produce music under several aliases. I was having a quick look, and you've got so much going on, but obviously you're best known to the Prohibition listeners as Parov Stelar. And so I'd like to know how you came up with that name.
Well, to be honest, the truth is quite boring because it's just a fantasy name. It's 20 years ago. I cannot remember why. There were a lot of beers in between. But I had different stories, were always funny. But the truth is, it's just a fantasy name. Doesn't mean anything.
Okay, that's fine. Fantasy's good. It's nice to have an element of mystery.
Yeah.
And did you always want to be a DJ and producer? And did you come from a musical family?
No, definitely not. So I always wanted to become a tennis professional, and my father was pushing me to that, and I was really deep into it. But my mom, she's kind of astrologer, and she said, I'm sorry for you. This is not written for you. So I think you become an artist. And I said, are you crazy? No way. I don't want to become an artist, because my mom is an artist as well. So, but you see, at the age of 18, it started.
That's cool. My mum was a teacher, so I always said, right, I'm not going to be a teacher, because you just don't want to do what your parents do. It's that kind of rebellious side of you. Now, I know that pigeonholes in music kind of cause a bit of problems. Media and everyone likes to kind of know what genre people are. So obviously you've kind of been referred to as electro-swing and house and vintage remix. Obviously you're properly eclectic. And one of your tracks, Piano Boy, fuses a lot of sounds together. It's got kind of jazzy, soulful vibe, obviously made for the dance floor. But if you had to kind of put yourself into a box, how would you describe your sound, or do you not like pigeonholes?
I don't like the pigeonholes at all. To be honest, it was a huge problem for me a few years ago, because I started producing electronic music, let's say, with this minimal house stuff that happened in Berlin around 2000. And by accident, I started sampling these old swing tracks. Mm-hmm. But my interests were always in different directions, you know. But suddenly, those electro swing thing became so big that other people identify me with that kind of music, and was even hard to show also the other sides. And I was fighting with that for a quite long time, but it's good now, because I understood that Parov Stelar is kind of a brand, and people expect something from that brand. So I decided to split it up for the more electronic and poppy songs. It's now Stelartronic, but if you see Parov Stelar, you get Parov Stelar.
Yeah.
But of course, it's not always easy, because you don't want to repeat yourself. So you always try to find new ways, but that you keep your handwriting.
You mentioned minimal house. Was there anything else you were into before you kind of discovered your kind of love of the kind of swingy kind of vibes?
Well, I like the whole movement of the swing era, you know, and I think it's comparable to that what happened when the rave and techno revolution came out. So I think this is quite the same feeling, that people discovering something new that is kind of, I wouldn't say forbidden, but nobody understands. So this is something especially I think young people could identify. But me, I'm interested in many variations of music. So I love jazz. Yesterday I was listening to Niels Fram. It's just piano music. It's adorable, fantastic artist.
Nice. Sounds super chilled. Nice to calm the spirit listening to some jazz.
Oh yeah. The bad thing with music is you cannot listen to music during you do music.
Yes, I can relate to that one. And I want to talk kind of about the artwork for your releases, because they seem to send out really powerful messages. How important is the artwork for you when you're kind of creating this music? Does it still tell a story? Is it an extension of the music?
You know, I started not as a musician. I started as a painter, as an artist, and I studied design and art in Berlin and in Austria. And a bit later, I discovered music for me. So from the beginning on, Parov Stelar wasn't never just music. It was always kind of combination. You see, for me, it's more listening and watching. You know. So I started to do all these cover works, and especially for the Voodoo Sonic trilogy, I decided to make the sound visible. You know, and this is kind of the idea, to have the album also as an exhibition.
So the music and the art kind of merge together to portray a story. That's really nice. And that kind of leads me on to ask you, I had a look at some of the past interviews that you've done, and you were quoted to say that your music reflects certain moments in your life. How does the new album tie into this? Like, where are you in your life at the moment?
Well, I think we are living in strange times, we all, and a lot of changes happened to 2020. And I would say I had always a kind of melancholic touch in my work, but also I like, on the one hand, I like the dance floor, you know. I like it when people start moving, when you start sweating. So this is a completely different experience with music when you have the moves to it. But I also like music for pictures, you know, or for movies. So I think especially Voodoo Sonic Part 3 has very cinematic moments, and also this dancey tracks. So it's a mixture between happy party, but also thinking in your easy chair or with pictures.
Do you think the fact that obviously we're not having the opportunity to dance in the clubs at the moment, will that kind of impact your music moving forward in terms of kind of moving away from dance floor beats?
I think, okay, maybe we don't have the public dance floors, but I dance every night with my son because we have to move. We should not forget about that one, and it will come back. We will fight it back. Absolutely.
And this is probably an impossible question, but I want to ask it anyway. Out of all the many, many tracks you've released as Parov Stelar, which has been your favourite and why?
I was waiting for that question.
It is bound to happen.
You know what? I see all my tracks as children, and if you ask your mother or father, can you tell me what is your favorite kid? It's a difficult question, but of course, I would say there were some very important tracks for Parov Stelar, especially the first one, Kiss Kiss. So that put me on the landmark of this public as an artist. But also would say Booty Swing and All Night were very important for the career of Parov Stelar. Yeah. But there are quite a few songs that I really love, maybe not so well known. For example, there's a song called Powder. And of course, most artists love their recent work. So for me, I think Voodoo Sonic Part 3 was kind of coming home, you know, coming home to the roots of Parov. And the guy who mastered the album, he said, "Hey Marcus, I really, really enjoyed the third part of the Voodoo Sonic trilogy because for me, this is like how the Princess album should sound in 2020. So you saw a development, but this is the same mood." And yeah, was a nice compliment.
That's an awesome compliment. Yeah, I'd take that one. It's funny, I interviewed Nick Hollywood recently, and he said there's similar to you about in answer to the question if he had to pick a freshly squeezed track. He said it's just impossible because they're all different. They've all got their own merits, but it's definitely interesting to hear. Booty Swing is definitely one of my favourites as well. So. Yeah, that's right. And how organised are you with your music production? I'm dying to know if you'd probably need to be.
Oh my God. I live in a chaos, believe me. Now, I think it's impossible to work as an artist or as a musician. You cannot have a 9-to-5 job. So if you're not in the mood, you can have a try. I did this many years because I was just working for the result. I wanted that feeling, the kick that I go to bed with a nice beat or with a nice song. But it's the way, it's the process. And if you don't do it with love and fully motivated, you will not get any satisfying result. And the same happens here. So if I'm in the mood for it or fully motivated or can feel the music, then I go my studio. If not, I go painting or I kick some balls with my son.
That's a really insightful look into it. And I think you're 100% right. You cannot force creativity. You just need to go with it. Do you get kind of like, I always find that at midnight when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'll think of something and I need to write it down.
Yeah, mostly you should be ready for that. That's the reason why I have my studio, my art atelier in my house, you know, because sometimes I have the same. I wake up at night or just when you go to bed, oh my God, this could be an idea. I have to keep it. So I go to studio just to put a few layouts. But that's a good thing. This is the crazy and good thing in our job, I think.
Absolutely. And obviously you mentioned your son. I know kind of like family life is really important to you. But do you get an opportunity to kind of party anymore, or are you just 100% kind of focused on music as a kind of, obviously as a career and the business side of the industry?
Well, of course I have. I have to say, maybe it's when I'm touring and I'm coming home from tour, there's not a demand or a need for having party private. But I love to sit with a couple of friends, they have a few drinks and of course with good music. But what I see now is with this lockdown and the COVID situation that we're not touring, so I'm really hungry for a part, to let out all this energy. And I think this is something, I'm not alone with that. So
absolutely.
Humans are social and they need to get in touch with other people and to have a party.
It's true. And in a imaginary universe, if you could be anything apart from a musician, what would you be?
Would like to be a cat.
That's a cool
professional cat.
I wasn't expecting that. That's a great answer. Do you have any cats?
Not at the moment. The neighbors' cats are always coming. But when I was living in Austria, so I had at my best time, I think it was 8 cats.
Wow, that's a lot of cats.
That's a lot of, and they all do what they want.
That's awesome. And from cats, I don't know how we're going to get from cats to social media, but I'm going to try and get there somehow. Obviously, fans are a big part of what you do. YouTube as well. I've been looking on your YouTube channel and some of the tracks getting over like 1 million views, which is impressive. What would you say your kind of preferred way is to kind of reach out to your fans, the people that can't come and see you, your gigs? How do you reach them through social media?
I would say social media plays a very important role, especially for musicians like us who are a bit more underground, But it's always annoying me sometimes because you always have to post, you always have to bring something new. So it's just so. I'm not sure what I should think about it, and sometimes it's overwhelming me how many informations are coming in, and also for the people, and it's. It changes so fast with this social media. I remember 20 or 30 years ago, you had a favorite band and it took time. This was your band. You liked their style. And now you get massive information every day and it changes. So, but it's important, Social media, for us, it's important.
Absolutely. I can concur, though. It can be massively overwhelming and somewhat time consuming as well. It just never ends. It's TikTok seems to be the one that's kind of taking off at the moment. My son tried to explain me TikTok. I still don't get it. No, we'll leave that one to the kids.
Yeah.
And then just on the subject of kind of social media, again, I had a look on your Facebook page, and you're nearly on the brink of 1 million followers. Do you pay much attention to your stats? I mean, that's an impressive number.
Well, of course, it makes me proud, because if 1 million people push the I like button, that means a lot for me because I did not force them. And I would love to go with every follower for one beer at least. So because they're my friends, you have to go for a beer with your friends.
Exactly.
But yes, of course. But then what does it mean to have 1 million followers at the moment at Facebook? That does not mean if I make a post or do a post that they can read it, And this is something I really feel a bit in sorrow with because you have to pay that they all can see it. And that was changing a few years ago. So it's just a number, but I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. And obviously you said that you kind of try not to pay too much attention and get kind of too sucked into social media, but has it had any negative impacts on you in terms of mental health and also looking at the wider music industry? Because obviously it must be quite a lot of pressure. Have you experienced any negative sides?
I definitely have mental health problems, but I don't know if it comes from Instagram or social media. I cannot say yes or no for that. Well, in fact, I think it could be a problem, but I don't want to be very old-fashioned, because I remember my grandmother, when telephone was coming up in Austria in the 30s, 40s, she thought the devil sent that invention, and maybe the same happens with us. And in 50 years, our kids would say, "Oh, what are you doing that? In my childhood, we had an Instagram and TikTok. That was a nice time. It was not so fast." So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a crazy time that we live in. I think social media is great in some respects, but in others, it has a lot of things to answer for.
Yeah.
And obviously, we kind of touched on coronavirus, how it's kind of affecting, there's no dancing, and you kind of mentioned that you've kind of got more time for yourself. Have you taken any other positives from the break in touring?
To be honest, no. Well, of course, I had a lot of time to spend it in my studio and to produce new tracks. But all my musicians and people working for that live business, they don't have any jobs now. They don't have income, and I have to think about it every day. So it was a huge cut. It was really a huge cut, and I would say if somebody comes and tells us, okay, in March 2021 we start again, okay, we can count on that. But at the moment, the ugly thing is that nobody knows how will we continue? Will we continue?
This is true. It's it's just like not knowing. It's just a never-ending cycle, isn't it? It's just, at first I kind of thought it was a bit of a holiday. You get a couple of months off to yourself, and then we'll be back to normal. But it's not happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the touring is something that a lot of the Prohibition fans were all dying to ask about. I know it's a kind of sensitive question, but I feel like I need to answer it because there's a lot of people that are kind of really want to come and see you play. When the coronavirus pandemic is over, do you have plans to tour? And more importantly, will you be coming to the UK?
Of course we will come back to UK again, but nobody knows when.
Exactly. So, yes. Anyway, enough of the negative. Let's talk about something positive. I saw Parov Stelar band at the Beat Herder Festival in the UK a couple of years ago, and it is one of the most memorable gigs that I've ever watched. It was amazing. It blew me away. Now, this is a kind of slightly geeky, techie question that Michael Rack and myself are keen to know. Michael Rack from Dirty Moonshine. What's your live setup for your gigs?
Well, of course, we have... I think we are 7 on stage. Let me count. I always forget. Well, first I play with my laptops. I do it with the Ableton Live, and then I put out everything from the production side, from the recorded tracks that I don't need on stage. So the bass, for example, is played live. Then I let in mostly the brass section to double it with them and keep them some space for solos. So we have trumpet, trombone, we have saxophone, we have bass, we have 1 singer, 2 singer, drums, and me. So we're 8 people on stage. And you mean the surrounding also with a monitor technician, or which gears we use?
Yeah, I think he just wanted to kind of know what your setup for your live shows was. I know he does Dirty Moonshine big band, so I think he was probably just curious from one band to another to see how it all works.
Yeah, we have also a huge LED wall set up, so we have a kind of cubes with LEDs. So that shows that I was very interested always to connect this audio with the visible thing. And somebody told me a live show is 50% watching and 50% listening. So I took this serious.
That's true. I think I do. That's one of the things that always stands out for me from Beat Herder. It's just the visual aspect of the thing. So yeah, that's really cool. So Michael Rack, if you are listening, hope that's answered your question. Do you prefer writing, producing, or playing live gigs?
That's a difficult question because I think you cannot compare those two. I really enjoy sitting in my studio, but now I have a huge demand for going live, and I think both they live off each other. I can produce music in my studio, but I have to play it somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So everything comes in order.
That's true. That's quite a clever answer, really, and I hadn't really thought about that. There's no point producing the music if you don't then go on to play it somewhere. So it's all connected. And do you have a kind of favourite gig or show that's kind of stood out to you from your career? And if so, what kind of made it special?
Well, there were a few ones. We played once the La Fête de Humanité in Paris, and it was in front of 120,000 people. So this was so massive, you know, you couldn't see the end of the crowd. But I remember we played in London the LA Pally without any PR or advertisement and things like that. We just did it social media. So I think we were sold out with 2,000. It was really overwhelming and impressive for us as well. Well, fantastic. This was one of my best nights, I think.
Amazing. That's cool. I've never been to the Ali Pali myself, but I shouldn't probably say this, but I like darts, and they always have darts live from the Ali Pali that I watch on TV.
Oh, okay.
I know, ruining my street cred there, aren't I? I should keep that one to myself. So keeping on the subject of music and kind of especially kind of electro-swing and vintage remix, from my perspective, 2020 has been a pretty strong year for music in terms of like stuff that's been released. Has any kind of bands or producers kind of stood out for you?
I'm really, really bad in names, sorry. I cannot answer you that question. I'm bad with names.
That's fine. I can imagine it's probably the last thing that you're needing to do at the moment because you're not gigging, so DJ sets or anything, so you don't really need to be looking at who's releasing what. So. And do you have any advice that you could offer to kind of new DJs and producers that are looking to get into the music industry? I know when I first started playing electro swing, you were a big inspiration to me. So it'd just be cool to see if you have any advice.
The most important thing is that you find your unique style, you know, that people immediately recognize, oh, it must be a song of this or this guy. And because there's so many good producers outside there, so many thousands, millions. But what makes the difference? And I think the difference is always that you have something in your work that nobody did before. And even if they're just a few small aspects, but find your own way, your handwriting, your brand mark.
That's really sound advice. That's really great.
It's the most difficult one.
It's true. It's hard to be unique because you struggle to find things that people haven't done before. But I guess that's all about being a creative. You need to get creative and experiment with new sounds. Yeah. And what can we expect from you personally, Parov Stelar, over the coming months and years? What does the future hold?
Well, nobody knows. Unfortunately, I'm not the fortune teller, but I'm still working hard, you know, and I got it back to be hungry to produce music and to do different things. Now in November, you will get the complete Voodoo Sonic album, and we are working on a documentary about Parov Stelar, which will be released next year. So we also got a request to do a huge live show with the symphonic orchestra, so we are thinking about that one as well. So there are always some crazy ideas spinning around, and I think, yes, to stay creative. Yeah,
that's a good answer. Stay creative, that's important. If you lose your creativity, that's not a good sign. No. I'm really excited to hear of the documentary, also the orchestra. That's some really exciting things to look forward to. And do you have any thoughts from your personal kind of viewpoint about the electro swing scene itself, the genre? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about how, you know, it was dying a few years ago and now it's not. How do you think things are going to pan out?
They told me 10 years ago that this is just a short movement for 1 or 2 years. So it's dying since 10 years. It's okay. It will never die because this is a music genre now. That's the same that somebody would tell us drum and bass will die. You will always have some drum and bass parties, and you will always have some electro swing parties. I think the quality was really increasing with the songs that came out. of course, we're a bit limited, with the sampling stuff, because we have these old swing songs we can work with. We always can dig to find some pearls or some treasures. It's okay. But let's have a look at techno or house music. Has it changed so much in the past 20 years? I don't think so. So, and after 20 years, we dig out the old classics and remix it. So the same happens with electro-swing. I think electro-swing is this is a feeling, This is a feeling when you go out, and even if you heard the song for 20 or 30 times out, you feel good. This is something to move. So I think this will stay forever.
Let's hope so. I certainly hope so. No, it's a good point you make about house and techno. And I think you get it in any scene as well. Those same tracks keep coming up, but it's because we love them. There'll always be people that say that it's a bad thing, but
I think maybe one advice for the whole community is to be open-minded, to let in some other influences. I think it happened already with some kind of electro blues, but who gives if some track is getting a bit more poppy or more in that direction? I think it's the mood. So just be open-minded and feel the development.
Absolutely. You hit on a key point. Be open-minded. Things change, things evolve, and you just have to go with it. So yeah, great answer there. Now, this was an extremely popular thing when I put this out. When we have guests on the show, we ask the Prohibition listeners and the electro swing community questions. Funnily enough, there was millions of them, but I've picked the best ones. So this is a question from Sarah and Steve. They were lucky enough to see your live show at the Brixton Academy in December 2019. Cleo Panther had just left the band, so it was Elena and Anzue. That's probably not how you say it, but there we go. They were taking a lead role. They absolutely smashed it, but they would like to know, how has the transition gone from Cleo leaving and the other ladies taking over? From their point of view, it was seamless.
Well, first of all, it was a shock for us when Cleo told us that she has to quit for private issues, but we understood, because if you're touring for years and years, and I think she was in a certain age where she was thinking things and maybe to have more family life, But I think the good point in that band is that they never put it out the leadership, so it could be me, but also sometimes the horns. So it's not in a typical band where everybody's just looking at the singer, but we had a lot of experience, of course, for years now, and we made a kind of casting for new singers. So Andus joined the band before, because I worked with him now nearly for 10 years. Just ask him if he is interested to perform maybe a few tracks live. So we started with him. I think he was performing 2 tracks at the beginning, then we had 3, and then it's becoming more and more. And then Elena joined the band. So we thought of course, there is no substitute for Cleo. Everybody is his own character, and the same for Eleanor and Deuce. But we try to keep the mood and the feeling of the live show. But I talked with them a lot and said, okay, bring in your own style, but never forget the whole thing, okay? So that we keep it authentic. And yeah, we did a lot of rehearsals, and I was surprised as well. It was a kind of seamless. You're right.
That's good. Yeah, I can imagine it'd be quite scary taking over from somebody else who's had such big boots to fill. Yes,
it was. I was a bit worried at the beginning. So do we continue like that? But I have to say that we made the next step. We have kind of more energetics right now, and a bit more of conversation with the crowd.
That's important. It's great when you get bands and performers that really feed off the crowd. It really adds that kind of extra level to a show. Now, Kimberly would like to know, can you swing dance?
Only in bed. No, unfortunately, I cannot. I'm just jumping around to the rhythm, and I don't care which one it is. Of course, I need some very fast ones. But my trumpet player, he is able to swing dance. He's good in it.
Oh, wow. That's great. Bit of swing dancing and trumpet playing at the same time. And Alana would like to, well, she says even, clearly you've managed to stay creative through this difficult year with the release of your latest album. Have you found time to pick up any new skills or hobbies that we don't know about over lockdown?
I think I'm not the guy for hobbies, you know. Most of my hobbies become very quickly to my job. Not really. This was just a bit of more time spending in studio and standing in my art with my art, and I took the time maybe to improve my working process, you know, to try out new synthesizers, to try out new instruments, record a little bit, to play around a little bit more, and to take time to develop the songs or the paintings. But that's it. I don't have any hobbies beside Wing Chun, but this is not a hobby, this is a pain in the ass.
I'm the same. I don't have any hobbies. Music is literally... I live, breathe, eat, sleep music.
Usually hobbies are things for people who feel bored.
Yeah, I'd love to have the time to have a hobby, but no, I don't. Now, this might be a tough question, but Ray would like to know what's been the most memorable moment of your career?
Also a few ones, but I think I mentioned before, the first release of Kiss Kiss was my starting point. And I remember I sent it out to so many labels and so many distributors, but nobody wanted it. So at the end, I decided to do everything by myself, and it was a big surprise. So Kiss Kiss will be always my firstborn, you know. But also I have to say, All Night and Booty Swing brought me to a certain level in my career that is... Yeah, I'm very grateful for these songs.
Absolutely. That's cool. And we've got another question from Michael Rack. I don't know how he sneaked in there with 2 questions, but he would like to know your 3 favourite electro-swing artists.
Okay. Now we're with the names again. Well, there's so many, and if I mention now 3, the others think, oh, this doesn't like my music.
I know. There was much speculation in the electro swing group of what your answer would be. Everybody who produces electro swing has their merits, and they are all awesome. Yeah. We shall leave that one at that. And a final fan question for you. Chris asks, do you consider yourself a dance artist who happens to use jazz samples, or do you feel like you're extending jazz into the present day? And do you consider your music to be genuine 21st century jazz? That was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful. Could be from both sides. Sometimes we play, for example, at jazz festivals, and then we play at electronic dance festivals. So I don't know what's more, but I think my mission was more to keep the energy of this music of the past century, to keep it and to bring it in the new century, and to show it even young kids, because I made the experience when I was young and I heard, let's say, Fred Astaire, people like that. I constantly, immediately felt bored, because this is music for my grandmother, you know. And I think with this kind of mixture, maybe it's easier for young people to discover the mood or the vibe, what was happening 100 years ago. So, and if they dig deeper, they will see that the 20s and 30s were really open-minded. It was an open-minded time in terms of sexuality, in terms of drugs, in terms of party, in terms of fine arts and thinking. So that was not a boring time, what the young most think.
Yeah, that's a really cool answer. And I hadn't really thought about that, actually, because I've myself kind of done jazz festival gigs and I'm playing original swing music, and the old people, there's like little old days in the audience, they're looking at you thinking, you're too young to like this music.
Yeah, I heard it quite often. Unfortunately, not anymore. I'm too old for that music.
But yeah, it's a really interesting slant. I thought, yeah, that was great. And after kind of the horribly tough question there, I feel like some of these fan questions we get are really quite involved. We always like to finish the interview off with just a little bit of a quick fire round. So here we go. Wine or beer?
Beer.
Straight in there. I love that one. Summer or winter?
Autumn.
I'll let you know.
Okay, let's say a bit more summer.
Yeah. Autumn, to be fair, autumn is a lovely time of year because it's that you get the kind of best of both worlds. So maybe next time I shall ask that one. Swing or jazz?
I have to say jazz today, but maybe tomorrow I would answer with swing. But today jazz.
That's cool. Yeah. And this is another question that I possibly know the answer to. But on your night off, do you stay in or do you go out?
I want to go out.
But you know what? The other first person that I've had on the show that's actually replied they'd like to go out. Everyone else is really boring and they just say they want to stay in. So that's great. And the final question for you: what 3 things do you always take to a gig with you?
Well, my headphones. Before it was an iPod, before my audiobooks, and my passport.
That's a good one. Can't get anywhere without that. That's super. And this is a little additional question that's become a bit of a running theme with the Prohibition radio show. So we had Jamie Berry on and I asked him what 3 things he takes to a gig with him. One of the things was sandwiches, which was a bit random. And his sandwich choice is BLT. Nick Hollywood's was tuna mayo. Little Violet was a vegan sandwich. So we'd like to know what's on Parov Stelar's sandwiches.
Parov Stelar sandwiches.
Yeah, what's your sandwich filling of choice? It's a British thing, I have to say. The Brits are very keen on the sandwiches. I'm not sure if it's so much of an Austrian.
Do you mean which is inside the sandwich?
Yeah, what do you have inside your sandwich?
I would say a tuna spread or a salmon.
That's great. You're with Nick Hollywood on that one. He said the tuna. We said when we book you all for Prohibition, I'll be able to put a rider on for you so we know exactly what it is you like to eat. So,
okay.
There you go. It's a British thing, I think. Yeah, yes, there we go.
That sounds very British.
It is very British. Well, we've come to the end of the interview. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, very much. Thank you so much for the nice questions.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was my absolute pleasure. So, yeah, big thank you for that one.
Thank you too.
Hey, you're listening to the Prohibition Radio Show.
So there we have it. That was my interview with Parov Stelar. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Do let me know what you thought in the post comments below. I just want to say a big thank you to Marcus for taking the time out of his busy schedule to speak to me. And now it gives me great pleasure to share with you his top 10 electro-swing tracks that I have mixed together for your listening pleasure. If you'd like the full track list for the show, as always, it is available on the Prohibition MCR YouTube channel and also Mixcloud.
Hey guys, I'm Parov Stelar and you're listening right now to my top 10 electro-swing tracks on Prohibition Radio.
ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire.
Ciao.
Ciao, bella ciao, bella. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 e se io muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellir, e questo è il fiore del partigiano. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 e questo è il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà.
Ciao.
Wash my hands of you. Wash my hands of you. When you got me in your power, your kisses turn all sour. Oh, I'm gonna wash my hands of you.
Prohibition MCR.
in the dark just to scare the ghosts away? I know there's something following me that I can't see. Someone sure laid an awful hex on me.
A hex? Oh, hex. That's pretty far-fetched. Man, I think you're just a little bit tense.
If you'd have got a load of what I saw last night, you'd have backed the Yankee Clipper on its maiden flight. Last night I saw upon the stairs a little man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. Oh, how I wish he'd go away. I came home last night at 3. The man was waiting there for me. But when I looked around the hall, I couldn't see him there.
Hey guys, I'm Parov Stelar and you're listening right now to my top 10 electro-swing tracks on Prohibition Radio.
Upon the stairs, little man who
days. I troll downtown, the red light place. Jump up, bubble up, what's in store? Love is the drug and I need the score. Showing up, it ain't one. Boy meets girl where the beat goes on. Stitched up tight, can't shake free. Love is the drug, got a hook on me. The drug for me.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
Stick my face in a singles bar, face to face, toe to toe, heart to heart as we hit the floor. Lumber up, limbo down, the lock embrace, the stumble round. I say go, she say yes. Dim the lights, you can guess the rest.
you're listening to the Prohibition Radio Show.
What a super swinging selection of music there from Parov Stelar to finish the final show of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. I certainly did. All that is left to say now is wishing you all a very happy Christmas and a lovely New Year. And I shall see you in January 2021 for the first show of the year with the lovely Tallulah Good Times.
What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with Clair.